All right. We are going to call to order the City of Desert Hot Springs special meeting of the City Council for Wednesday, August 9th, 2023. This is our 6 p.m. regular session. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Betts.
And before we go any further, Mr. Betts had called in that he had a family emergency. He might not be making tonight's meeting.
Councilmember Gardner.
Present.
Councilmember Pai.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Nunez.
Here.
Mayor Mattis.
Present. Present.
Thank you.
Please rise, and Mr. Gardner, would you lead us in the pledge?
Please face the flag, put your hand over your heart, repeat after me. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam City Attorney, would you report on closed session, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. We have no reportable action.
At this time, we're going to move to public comments. All comments will be directed to the City Council and shall be devoid of any personal attacks. Members of the public are expected to maintain professional, courteous decorum during public comments. Mr. Ramon, are you speaking in public comments or on the item on the agenda? All right, you may come forth.
Tom Moore, 44-year resident, City of Desert Hot Springs. I've liked and enjoyed touching on some of our interesting history in Desert Hot Springs and in the Coachella Valley. Thank you, Mr. Gardner. And I thought this was too interesting not to tell. In 1901, J.L. Rector and his associate, Mr. Mobby, M-A-W-B-Y, wanted to establish a city in this valley. And everyone told him, well, why don't you call it Rector after you? And he says, I don't want my name on a city. And he suggested, well, why don't we call it Conchilla, which is the Spanish for little shells. And so that's what they named it, but they sent it to the printers to lay out the plat map and everything, and this was in 1901. Well, the printers changed two of the letters. They changed the N to an A, and the I was also changed to Coachella. And rather than go through the expense of reprinting and everything, they said, let's just leave it alone. So Coachella Valley was a printing error. And I just thought that was interesting to know, how much other history would be a printing error. Thank you for listening, and thank you for your courtesy.
I have no other blue cards on speakers on non-agenda items. Everything else is speaker cards for agenda items. Anyone like to speak on just general? I see nobody coming forth. We'll close public comments at this time. We'll move to the public hearing. Item 2, which is Skyborne Amendment to Development Agreement and Lien Contract. Before this begins, I did want to mention one comment before I recuse myself, and I failed to do this at the beginning of the meeting. We won't have another chance to thank everyone that participated in our recent emergency with the fire incident here in the City of Desert Hot Springs until after the Labor Day holiday. But we had a pretty tragic emergency here in the City of Desert Hot Springs, losing 10 homes in a mobile home park, and I wanted to thank staff personally for all the work you did and all the extra hours you put in. If staff members aren't here and your department helped out a lot, please send our appreciation as a city council to them for all the extra work. And for those of you that might not know, there was an emergency shelter center opened up by the Red Cross, which our staff members actually helped staff for 24 hours a day for most of the 2 weeks that it was open. So really appreciate all the extra work that was done, and it's ongoing. We still have housing needs by some of the members of that emergency, and they will continue to work on that as time goes on. And again, thank you for all that hard work. We'll get more of an update after the Labor Day holiday on where we're at with that. And anyone that has donations out there, please contact our city and our city manager's office, and they'll help you funnel those donations. Sorry about that, I forgot to do the beginning. Back to the public hearing, the Skyborne amendment to the development agreement and lien contract. Before we begin this item, I do have to recuse myself. My recusal is that I work for the management company that manages Skyborne HOA community. After looking into this through the FPPC, there was a ruling by the FPPC that I might have a conflict, even though I don't directly receive income from this project itself. My company does, so I'm going to have to recuse myself tonight. With that said, you still have a quorum of council members, so the three will continue the meeting, and I'll be giving the meeting over to the Mayor Pro Tem. I guess you can sit there. You don't have to move if you don't want. One more comment. It's the only item on the agenda, so I'm going to go home.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Don't hurt anybody.
Before he leaves, does anybody want a street named after them before we leave? Thank you. We're going to move ahead with item number 2, Skyborne Amendment to Development Agreement and Lien Contract. The staff report, please.
Thank you and good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. This item is consideration for a First Amendment to the Development Agreement and First Amendment to the Lien Contract between the City of Desert Hot Springs and Skyborne Ventures relative to Skyborne Tract 32030. Skyborne project consists of 10 villages or phases of market rate single-family residential homes. You can see on the aerial here the boundary of the project, which is sort of loosely bounded by Mission Lakes Boulevard to the north, Pearson Boulevard to the south, Worsley Road to the west, and Karen Avenue to the east. By way of some background on the project, in 2004, the City Council approved Stone Ridge specific plan for the development of the residential project, along with the associated entitlements, including a general plan amendment, change of zone, development agreement, and tract maps. The project was renamed Skyborne after being purchased by Western Pacific Housing in 2005, whereby the new purchaser also assumed the development agreement in place. In 2008, the project was purchased by Skyborne Ventures, and the City Council approved the substitution of the public improvement security from bonds to a lien. Relative to the history of construction, it first began development in 2006 and was quickly followed by the housing market collapse and economic downturn in 2008. In that same year, though, Planning Commission approved the construction of 29 new homes within Village 1. In 2021, the Planning Commission approved the construction of 79 new homes within Village 2, followed by the same action in 22, whereby Planning Commission approved the construction of the remaining 108 new homes within Village 3. So to date, 332 homes have been completed, with 31 more currently under construction, for a total of 2,126 at full build-out. The next two slides will provide an overview of the proposed revisions to the lien contract, which is more detailed in the staff report and included as an exhibit with a redlined version to the staff report. Per Section 3 of the lien contract, the owner is requesting a reduction to the lien amount and a reassignment of the lien to specific lots. Staff assessed the related documentation and completed inspections of the work to determine the percentage of work that had been completed. So the original amount of the lien was a little over $9.5 million. The amount of the completed work was over $1.6 million, and the new total public improvements came to 7.8, a little over that, the difference between the two. Because the city engineer came up with the estimate in 2006, we applied a 10% inflation to that number to get to a new total of $8,654,114. The owner is committing to making a payment in the amount of $100,000 towards the lien contract payment fee with approval of the first amendments to the development agreement and the lien contract. He's also seeking reassignment of the lien for villages 1 through 10 to only village 5. Staff recommends this. It's appropriate because the lien to value ratio is less than 50%. They're also requesting that the city manager have authority to reassign existing collateral moving forward while maintaining that 2-to-1 ratio as appropriate, and the removal of a requirement that a 1% annual security fee be paid to the city. And we have removed that requirement from several other projects and feel it would be appropriate to do so in this case as well. So now we'll review the major revisions being proposed in the amendment to the development agreement, which is also in the staff report in more detail, and there's a red line version in the exhibits that allow you to compare the existing with the proposed changes. The term is being recommended to be expired in 2035 with an automatic renewal for 10 years from the expiration date if the project is found to be in substantial compliance during the periodic review conducted in that very last year when it's set to expire. Construction of at least 200 homes every 5 years or otherwise modified by the city manager based on circumstances is being proposed in terms of its timing and phasing. The Pearson Boulevard improvements are on the final third payment of $200,000, and the owner is required to make that payment to the city upon receipt of proceeds from remaining bond sales. The language relative to the obligation to construct a fire station is recommended as being removed because that obligation has been met. The dedication of 5 acres for the future Karen Park to the city and payment of $1.2 million for construction thereof upon the sale of any lots in Village 3 or 10 is being recommended as well. There are also specific parks to the villages, and construction of those parks would be required before issuance of 50% of the certificates of occupancy for homes within each village. The section of language added relative to the financing of public improvements is fairly lengthy, but it's detailed in the staff report. And we just included language relative to the potential establishment of future community facility districts as appropriate. There's a new section being recommended to be added referencing the fee credits for establishment of project entry monumentation as fulfilling the obligation for the art and public places requirement. The periodic review language is being revised or being recommended to be revised, specifying that the City Council shall review the development agreement annually and that the City Manager shall conduct and submit said review. The financial impact to the city includes several one-time revenues and an annual revenue, and then there is one negative impact. But going through the spreadsheet that's up on the screen now, you can see that the final payment for Pearson Boulevard improvements would be $200,000. The estimated development impact fees at total build-out would be almost $24 million. And then we would receive the $1.2 million for the Karen Park construction payment. Relative to ongoing fees or revenues to the city, that would be found in the way of property taxes at an estimated $2.3 million at build-out. And then speaking again on the annual contract, lien contract security fee that we would be recommending for removal, that would equate to $95,000 of lost revenue. I would also like to add that in addition to financial impact to the city, the increase of housing stock for new market rate homes is essential for our economic development efforts as it pertains to attracting new commercial development. This is something that's very important to those that would be looking to Desert Hot Springs as its new home. And I just wanted to add that, and partnering with a builder like Lennar is certainly a significant step forward for us because it is the second largest builder in the nation. So with that, that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions. We have representation from Jim Kozak here as well to answer any questions, and any other representatives that he has in attendance too. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. We are now going to entertain questions from staff from council. Hearing none, we will move to open the public hearing. And we have a list of speakers. The first speaker would be Jeff Bowen. Mr. Bowman, you'll have 3 minutes of time when you start talking.
Thank you very much. Mayor Pro Tem, City Council people, staff, Jeff Bowman. This week marks my 20th year in Desert Hot Springs. My wife and I, back in 2003, acquired the Kismet Lodge building on Mountain View Road and opened up our Living Water Spa, which we ran to 2019 and had a wonderful time in the hotel business. Back in 2003, we had 2 stoplights, and the Hacienda Heights was just coming on, the development. Tonight, I'm providing public testimony as one in favor of the Skyborne Amendment to the Development Agreement and Lien Contract. I remember when Jim Kozak came to town, purchased the property in '08, during the worst real estate recession this country has experienced, and we as a city were reeling with it. Over the years, I've seen them manage and patiently maintain the Skyborne property. And now home building and sales continue by Lennar Homes, even though interest rates have more than doubled. Jim and Skyborne display the deep commitment to DHS. I can't think of any developer who's been here longer than they. Many have come and gone in the 20 years I've been here. I don't know why you stay, Jim, but you have, and we're grateful. They are a positive and proactive partner to the growth and development of DHS. Momentum at Skyborne has started and continues, and by approving the Skyborne items tonight, you will help continue the project's positive momentum. I'll just leave you with this. Help him, help you grow our city. Vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rubin. Next speaker, Mrs. Reed, Dot Reed.
Good evening, council, staff, citizens. I'm here with testimony in favor of supporting Skyborne. My name is Dot Reed. I moved here 45 years ago, and they didn't have the stoplights that they had when Jeff moved here. There was only a stop sign right out here at Palm and Pearson. I think the population then was 6,000. But I got involved, even though my husband kept telling me, keep a low profile. And if anybody knows Dot Reed, she didn't do it. I have put on several events at Skyborne because Jim was so kind to let us use that. I did my 80th birthday party there, which was a fundraiser for Sir Optimist House of Hope. I did a soup supper for her Historical Society in that same building. When Yvonne Parks was 75, we had a big party for her in that building. Jim has contributed so much to this community with Skyborne. Nobody else could hold a candle to him. Quality all the way. His builder, I've heard that this is really great. I can't think of a whole lot else I want to say other than let's keep him, let's do what needs to be done, and I urge you to vote on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Johnson. Next speaker is William. Now, it's hard to read the reading, I'm sorry.
Good evening, members of the City Council. William Sacristi. Yep, I'm a resident of Corona, but I'm also a director for planning for Lennar. I oversee all the project management efforts in Riverside County, including the Coachella Valley and all the projects we have in several cities in the area. We're just here in support of the project, of course, but also to answer any questions you may have. We are very excited at the prospect of continuing here. This community has been great for us. We've been able to provide the dream of home ownership to over 150 of our customers so far. We still have about 31 more, as the presentation showed. And the item before you tonight that is one of the linchpins for us to continue to move forward. We are currently looking, we're under contract to purchase more home sites from Mr. Kozak and his firm. And this item is a key for us to be able to continue to move forward. So if you have any questions about Lennar's plans for the future, we're here to answer any of those. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Would anyone else in the general public like to make a comment? Sir, if you can just state your name.
Good evening, members of the council. I'm providing public testimony in favor of the Skyborne amendment to the development and the lien contract. My name is Gerald Russell, and I have been a resident in the city for 12 years, for the past 12 years, and a homeowner at Skyborne during that same time. And I'm also on the board of directors for the HOA at Skyborne. And we are making good progress in the development at Skyborne, and we would like to see that continue. And coming out of the 2008 real estate recession, momentum at Skyborne has started again and continues. And by approving the Skyborne items tonight, the amendment development agreement and the amendment lien contract, you will help to continue the project's positive momentum. Voting for this it will favorably impact and benefit the city as well as the entire community of Desert Hot Springs. For example, new residents bring additional people into the city, and that will increase sales revenue into the city's general fund. At the build-out of Skyborne, it is estimated that the city will receive approximately $2.3 million annually to its general fund for the city's share of property taxes just from the project alone. And according to the National Association of Home Builders, approximately 5,000 full-time equivalents will be generated in the building of the remaining Skyborne homes, and approximately $23.8 million in the city development impact fees will be paid to the city with the build-out of the remaining homes in Skyborne. Therefore, we urge you to vote yes, and we look forward to continuing the development, and thank you very much for allowing us to continue to grow.
Thank you, Mr. Russell. Anyone else from the public? If you could just state your name, please.
Sandra Garland. Lo voy a leer en español primero y luego en inglés. I'll start in Spanish and then. Buenas noches, miembros de consejo. Estoy dando testimonio público a los que están a favor de la enmienda de Skyborne al acuerdo de desarrollo y el contrato de embargo. Mi nombre es Sandra Garland y he sido residente de la ciudad durante 15 años. Yo soy la manejadora de la asociación comunitaria de Skyborne HOA, lo que me pone día a día en contacto con todos los residentes de Skyborne. Tenemos un maravilloso grupo de residentes que han escogido la ciudad de Desert Hot Springs y Skyborne como su hogar, y el número de nuevos residentes de Skyborne continúa creciendo cada mes. He trabajado con el señor Kozak, representado el desarrollo principal de Skyborne Ventures, y él también es miembro de las juntas de directores de Skyborne HOA. He descubierto que sigue estando activamente interesado en hacer de Skyborne la mejor comunidad residencial planificada por Master en el Valle de Coachella, y es un valioso miembro de la Junta de HOA que escucha las necesidades y preocupaciones de los residentes y hace todo lo posible para mantener las cuotas lo más bajo posible. Les pido por favor que vote sí para aprobar el acuerdo de desarrollo enmendado de Skyborne y el contrato de el deber enmendado para que Skyborne pueda continuar creciendo y traer más residentes a la ciudad de Desert Hot Springs. Gracias. Good evening, council members. I am providing public testimony for those in favor of Skyborne Amendment to the Development Agreement and Lien Contract. My name is Sandra Garland, and I represent Desert Resort Management, an associate company, and I have been a resident of the city for 15 years, born and raised in Coachella Valley. I am the Community Association Manager for Skyborne HOA, which puts me in day-to-day contact with our Skyborne residents. We have a wonderful group of residents who have chosen the city of Desert Hot Springs and Skyborne as their home, and the number of new Skyborne residents continues to grow each month. I have worked with Mr. Kozak representing the master developer of Skyborne Ventures, and he is also on the board of directors of the Skyborne HOA. I have found he continues to be actively interested in making Skyborne the best master plan residential community in the Coachella Valley, and he's a valuable HOA board member, listening to the needs and concerns of the residents and making every effort to keep the HOA monthly dues as low as possible. I ask that you vote yes to approve the Skyborne amended development agreement and amended lien contract so that Skyborne can continue to grow and bring more residents to the city of Desert Hot Springs. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Garland. Anyone else would like to speak?
Good evening. My name is Jennifer Johnson. I'm the project manager for Lennar that is overseeing Skyborne Village 2. And first off, I just want to thank the staff, city staff, and council members for all of your support over the last couple of years. It's been wonderful working with the city, with all of the staff. And I know you have a new building official, Kevin, who I worked with in Ontario. He's wonderful. Doria, Jolene, Patricia, everyone's just outstanding. It's a pleasure working with the city. William kind of stole some of my thunder, but I just want you to know that we'd love to continue our momentum, and with you guys approving or voting yes for the amendment to the development plan, that would help Lennar continue our sales and building. And I also want to thank Jim and we've got Gerald, Lloyd, Dennis, Sandra, Christy, all of the HOA board members for all of their efforts and meeting monthly with the residents. It's really difficult when you've got questions on when are you going to build this? When are you going to build this? When is this village going to come into play? So everyone wants to see the community thrive, and that's exactly what Lennar would like to. So please vote yes. Thank you for your time.
Ms. Johnson, I want to apologize. I had your card right here, but somehow it went under. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I do apologize. Anyone else?
Good evening. My name's Lloyd Purdy. I'm a resident of Skyborne and have been since 2008, one of the original homeowners. We watched the neighborhood collapse, go under, and then Jim came in and bought it up and sat on that thing for 15 years. 15. It's amazing because there was opportunity, as everyone knows, and maybe encouraged by the city to sell cheap houses out there several years back, and he wouldn't do it. And thank God he didn't, because where would we be as homeowners? But 40 or 50 lots he had to pay HOA dues on every month and property taxes. And it was just amazing, the willpower and the stamina, knowing, of course, he's a developer, that's what he does, but he did a half good job at it. We're really impressed with him. So we're, once again, very lopsided here. We're in support of continuing what he's been doing very successfully here lately, for sure. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Purdy. Anyone else? Hearing and seeing none, we'll take testimony from the applicant next.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Councilmember Pye and Gardner, city staff. It has been a long journey, as Mr. Purdy outlined. I couldn't have done a better job myself than identifying some of the trials and tribulations. But one thing that keeps one coming back is the good-natured residents we have in the city of Desert Hot Springs. There's a real heart that you find when you're working in this community, not only doing business, but in terms of community service. And that's rare. In bigger cities, you need to hire a lobbyist to get a meeting with a council member. And here you have an ability to talk and try to work towards some common ground with people. And so it's been a real blessing. In this 15 years that I've been involved in the city, I've seen some staff turnover at the city manager level and staff level and city attorney level. And I really feel that you have a great team in place right now. I think, Lennar is a great, basically gave a great good housekeeping seal of approval, because most big builders are always complaining the city is slowing me down, the staff is so bureaucratic, we can't get anything done. And you got a big vote of confidence in how staff is being managed by the second largest home builder in the nation. And you should be very proud of that. And I compliment staff. As Doria knows, and Danny, I've been at this for many years trying to get to where we are today, to clear up some of the issues that we had on the development agreement that were a little gray. And with their help and some compromises by me, we've been able to get to an agreement that I think is fair for everyone and is a win-win from that standpoint. And I think the city, by going forward with this, will be assured of some very good success. As we succeed, the city succeeds. So we look at this as a great opportunity to work together to build a better and more vibrant community. With that, I'll take any questions anybody might have.
Great, thank you, Mr. Kozak. Next, we're going to take public testimony for those in favor of the project, which we already did. If there's anyone else that'd like to speak. Hearing none, we'll take testimony from the public for those opposed to the project, if there's any. Hearing and seeing none, we'll take testimony from those in neutral position. Hearing and seeing none, I'll take the opportunity for the applicant to, if you want to say anything else, Mr. Kozak, it's up to you. You don't have to. No, thank you, sir. And we're going to close the public hearing. Do I have to hit the go? Okay, we close the public hearing, and then we'll take discussion from council and staff.
Dot. When I came, it was 13,000 people. Mr. Kozak has gone through a lot of stuff. I've been on the council for 20 years, and he's gone through a lot of stuff that I don't think he needed to go through. But this amendment is bringing stuff to date. It's bringing it here to 23. Also, I'd like the amendment where the city manager is involved. I like the periodic review because that will keep us current. I like that Lanier wants to be here. That's a big thing for me. I like HOA and the diversity of the HOA and that you want to be here. And you're right about Skyborne, what it's going to do for you, but what it's also going to do for us as well. We are a community. Jennifer, you said you wanted to thrive. I think you're right, and that's where we're going. I'm done. Go.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Mr. Kozak, you have quite the fan club, and I think it's quite well-deserved, too. Your love and support of our city is well-known and very much appreciated that, and you and your residents. And I remember when I moved here, and drove out that way, and I go, what the heck is this out here in the middle of nowhere? And it has been so fun for me the last couple of years to see the growth, as well as the quality of the product that you guys are putting together out there. It's just amazing. And Jan summed up things quite well. I've gone through this agreement. It brings it up to date, puts it in a more modern perspective, keeps things moving forward, keeps the city moving forward, and I'm very happy to support this. And if you don't have any comments, I'll make a motion.
I just have a couple of comments I just want to make.
I'm done.
Thank you. For me, once I moved to the city and saw the potential that the city had, I thought that, you know, we're one of the fastest growing cities in Coachella Valley, but the quality of development that we can bring into the city as far as growth. I see Skyborne as one of those big projects that can be a leader in this development. So that's, you know, one thing I would like to see is this project move forward and flourish the way it should be, the way it was intended to. So I hope those questions that you said about gray areas, there's clarity in those gray areas that we could sit down and talk about and iron out. So with that, that's all I have to say. And however it goes tonight, you know, good luck.
Well, in that case, I will make a motion that we adopt the Skyborne Amendment to the Development Agreement and Lien Contract.
And approval of the First Amendment.
Yeah.
Second.
Hearing the motion and a second, please vote.
Motion passes unanimously. This is a first reading of an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Desert Hot Springs approving the First Amendment to the Development Agreement by and between the City of Desert Hot Springs and Skyborne Ventures, LLC. The ordinance will return on September 5th for second reading and adoption.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
You want to adjourn?
We will adjourn into our first meeting in September. Is that correct? Okay. So we'll see everyone in September. Thank you.